A celebration of golf at its finest. For the first time in 2 years, the Alfred Dunhill Championship returns to Leopards Creek in South Africa, overlooking Kruger National Park. An eventful weekend lies ahead with high humidity, scattered thunderstorms throughout the weekend that will test the will of some of these players. Christian Bezuidenhout, the South African native, is returning to defend his 2020 title, where he won by 4 strokes, never shooting below a 69 on any of the 4 days. A total of 156 professionals take the greens this coming Thursday, and here to help you win some cash is Miss Kelly Singh. That was my best Jim Nance impression, welcoming everyone to the Masters. So,
you know what, friends? That was wonderful. That's all you were missing was the friends.
yeah, I have no idea if I said the former winner's name correctly. I sounded it out, but he did win by 4 strokes, which is very impressive, and he is a native of South Africa.
We can just call him Bez. That's what most people do. My best pronunciation is Bezenhout, but that is not necessarily, I can say words, not necessarily correct either.
I don't know. I will in my gut. If Christian's watching, I apologize. He also has 2 A's in Christian. So I wasn't sure if you had to elongate it. Anyways, we're here. Also happening on Saturday, the match PGA charity event to help Hurricane Ian relief. Nighttime match. We've all seen these different the matches that happen, but is with Tiger Woods, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, and Rory McIlroy. 12-hole round at Pelican Golf Club in Bel Air, Florida. So that is another one that has some potential money to be made off of it. Kelly, I will let you start with the Alfred Dunhill Championship, because obviously that one kind of takes a toll with, 156 players comparative to 4. And many people might not know the field of 156 guys that are out there. Looking at the 2020 championship, which was the most recent one played in South Africa, many casual players of DFS for golf may not know many of these players. There's actually only one American inside the top 12, and his name is Sean Crocker. He was the only American inside the top 12 in 2 years ago, Alfred Dunhill Championship. So break down the field for us.
I will do my very best. I do pay attention to the European Tour, the DP World Tour. I like various golfers in the European nation and across the world. So I'm kind of excited to talk about this. When we were discussing what shows we were going to try and cover in what's the end of the PGA wraparound season, and there's a little bit of a holiday break. And I thought, you know what? There's still stuff to talk about between all the various tours, between some of the gimmicky events like the match. There's enough for us to talk about and surely enough to bet on. But guess what? I went and I looked for DFS lineups. And to begin with, only Draftkings had anything posted as far as DFS abilities for golf this week. I did not see anything on FanDuel. And then as I was doing some of my research, I did come across Yahoo Sports article on DFS for this tournament. That doesn't necessarily mean that they will be hosting it. In fact, I could just look it up while we're chit-chatting, because Yahoo is super particular about the tournaments that they do cover. I was surprised to see I hadn't any FanDuel options. That was kind of a bummer, but I do prefer DraftKings anyway. So let's see. If we take a look at, I should have had this up probably ahead of time. And actually now I'm not even finding my sports betting. So maybe you can look that up for me. See if Yahoo is hosting DFS for me. That would be amazing, Joe.
I will try my best.
Thank you. So as Joe mentioned, we're back in the swing of things here with the Alfred Dunhill Championship. If you don't follow European golf, you are sure to know some of the golfers involved. We have Brendan Grace. We have Louis Oosthuizen, who people love to call Oosty. Oosty happens to be my uncle's favorite golfer. So I'm going to have to send him a link to this show so he can hear me talk about Oosty. He also loves the Bez, which we touched on briefly at the beginning. Charles Schwartzel, another very big name that you may recognize on this tour. Players are allowed to cross tours. They're allowed to collect points on various tours. Some of those points then go towards their PGA totals. So you'll see a lot of cross pollination. This course was designed by Gary Player, very well known golfer as well. And it's very long. It's a long course. Did you talk about the 7,200 yards? I can't remember.
No, the scorecard I'm looking at has it at 6,800. I could be looking at an improper or not updated scorecard. I'm looking at one that shows the last 6 holes, 3 of them are par 5s. So on the back half, you're going to be pulling out the big stick a lot and then following that up with most likely a wood or a hybrid into the green. So yes, this is a course fit for gentlemen that can hit the ball pretty damn far, is what I would like to say.
That's right. And I'm not sure if what you're looking at talks about water, but water does come into play on this course as well on 8 holes. But typically water is not something that bothers the professional golfer like it does me.
And me.
And you.
Yeah.
There's the famous kikuyu grass, which drives me nuts. If you happen to watch any golf event and it happens to have this kikuyu grass, I don't know why, but the announcers can't get enough of saying it. It's very thick and difficult grass, and you might as well just hang it up if you land in there. It's really hard. So over the last 2 years, again, these names are the same: Louis Oosthuizen, Brendan Grace, Christian Bezenhout.
We'll call him
Don't
Bez.
yell at us. These are really hard. Dylan Fratelli, Charles Schwartzel, Eduardo Molinari. These are players who have really performed well, playing hard courses over the last couple of years. And then there are a list of players who have shown the largest increase in performance over the last 2 years. And topping this list is Brendan Grace, Dylan Fratelli, Charles Schwartzel. Same, we could just name them all basically the same names again. Throw in this Henny Duplessis. Oh my gosh, I probably slaughtered that, but that is a change on this list. And that name has come up a lot in my research. So if you are looking to somebody who has experience with this type of course and this course itself, you might want to take a look at Henny Duplessis. Gosh, that sounds awkward to me, even though it looks so easy. He's 26 years old. He hasn't quite done it yet. Multiple top 5 finishes. Definitely should be one that you take a look at when you're placing your bets, if you're able to. And DFS lineups. Again, Brendan Grace, the Bez. I keep mentioning those same names, but they keep coming up over and over and over again. But the one I want to keep the eye on the most will be that Henny, Hennie. That's the first name. Super cute name. Am I allowed to say that?
It's your show. You can say whatever you want.
Super cute name. Not only that, but great data to back it up with. What I like that we're doing here is we are talking about a European or DP World Tour event because there's no PGA event to bet on. So I'm basically like a huge degenerate looking for golf because I love golf and I love betting on golf, and we're bringing it to you. Some of the recommended bets that are out there are the Bez to win. We also have our little Henny to either win or come in the top 10. That would be a great bet for us. And then there's another name that's being tossed around as well, Casey Jarvis, to win top 10 or top 20. So if you like to do those props like I do, that is being recommended for us. We've already kind of laid out a bunch of names that could build out your DFS lineup. I actually have my Draftkings contest open, thinking maybe we could just build it together while we're here. I definitely am looking at these salaries and see it will be really tough to get everybody we want in there. But just for funsies, I'm going to just throw in Usti and Bez to start. And that is leaving me with an average remaining salary per player of $7,000, which is not very much. But we scroll down, our Henny Duplessis is 8.5. So I'm going to take it. That's going to leave us 6.6 right now. I'm scrolling past a lot of guys that I like, just wondering if these higher value, I don't even know if I can call them a value, but we'll go with it, pull us through. That's a tough one. But then we look, gosh, who do I want to spend my 6.6 on? Because that is not a lot. That is like bottom of the barrel kind of stuff. So what I do in this situation is I look at the fantasy points per game and their average scores. So I'm seeing a South African, which is great because we're in South Africa. And we are looking at Kruger, J. Kruger, South Africa, 6.8 thousand, averages 69.2, and fantasy points per game 68. He's made one of two cuts, so I'm going to throw him in the mix. Scrolling down, who else can we scrounge for? Let's go with another South African here. We're going to go with, where did he go? Sorry. Oh my gosh. J. You guys, I lost it.
I think we're just building an all South African roster, I think is where we're getting at here.
I am, but he has made two cuts, 2 of 2. One of them was a top 10. James Dupreez, South African, 6.7 thousand, averages 69. That's great. And out of these two events, 99 fantasy points per game. I'm going to take that gamble. We have one more guy to scrape the bottom of the barrel with here, and it is not looking so great. Again, probably another South African. There's a lot of them playing in this event, I will say. We're going to go with Jake Redman, 2 of 2 cuts made, averaging 74 fantasy points per game. So those last ones are really just throwing darts. And I feel okay about it with $200 in my remaining salary. So I've gone with Bez. I've gone with Henny. I've gone with Jay Dupree's, Jay Kruger, Usti, and Jay Redman. Lots of J's going on here. We're going to save it. It is entered. It is in. I will let you know how that pans out. But I think that was really fun, kind of building it on the fly.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know any of these. I know who Louis Oosthuizen is, but again, these European Tour guys are not the best of the best. They are on the European Tour for a reason.
Because they're European.
Yeah, and they're not, Rory McIlroy is European.
He's made the crossover.
John Rahm is European.
That's true. I will say the guys that I picked up at the end, I don't know anything about them other than being able to read their game log and their data. I didn't even dive into their game log. But if they're pulling up out of 2 events and bringing in anywhere between 70 and 100 fantasy points per game, they've played decent rounds. And that's what we need for DFS. We need somebody who is, maybe they're not going to win, but they're going to make the cut and they're going to at least not bogey, 1, and 2, probably birdie. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
Well,
We'll see.
I'm going to add in a couple things here. So this course, I don't think is as long as you are actually thinking it is.
Really?
This
I
course,
pulled that up on Yahoo.
According to the official Leopard Creek scorecard, it is 6480 is the total yardage from the gold tees, which is obviously where.
Well, I'll stop you right there. They usually lengthen it for a tour event.
Okay. Well,
because those guys will crush if they don't.
I would say it seems like an aggressive extension of 700 yards.
7,250 yards with water coming into play on 8 holes as of 3 minutes ago.
So that seems an aggressive jump from 6480. But if it is, you are still sitting at some fairly drivable par 4s, even just looking at the gold tees here. Hole 6, it's at 284 and it's a par 4. Obviously, it's a hard dog leg left, so you need to have a pretty mean draw to actually get it to the green. But if you're feeling frisky, you could do it. But then you have on the back, you have 318 par 4. You go into a par 3. Par 5, 324 par 4. Par 5, par 3, then 401, and then 497 par 5, which is fairly short. Again, they're obviously going to make these holes longer, but you can still tell that there are some short holes here, especially on the back, for people to take advantage of if they have enough in their driver. If they don't feel as confident, they are most likely going to end up taking a fairway wood or a hybrid, get them there in 2, looking at some of these shorter holes, which would be 14 and 11 are the aforementioned. You have to have pretty good accuracy if you do plan on hitting it with basically any long club. There are plenty of sand traps, especially there's 2 directly in front of the green on 11, and then a couple about probably 200, 250 yards down the fairway, respectively. And then for hole 14, there's actually some creek area that is directly in front of the green on hole 14. So you're definitely going to need to be able to get it there and stick it on the green, because it looks like there's about 15 to 20 yards of actual, would say, safe spot. And that's obviously assuming that there's probably a hill coming from that creek. I cannot tell the 3D look of it from the graphic here, but bunkers lining the right and left-hand side. And if you overshoot the green as well, hello, Faith. If you overshoot the green as well, they put a little sand trap back there for you, just to be very mean about it too. So these shorter holes that some people might look at, is probably going to be something where a lot of these pros are just going to take 2 shots to get there, 3 wood, 5 wood, hybrid, whatever it may be. They'll probably take those 2 shots. Now they could pull out a 7-iron and get there in 2 because they're way stronger than I. Even though I'm hitting my 7-iron 210 in the simulator this winter, I don't believe it, but I'm hitting it 210. So we'll see when we actually get out there in the spring if that holds true. But it's a very interesting course. And again, I'm sure they do probably lengthen it because I was like 6480 doesn't seem very long for a professional course. But at the tips, at least for a traditional golfer, I mean, it's gettable on these holes where, you're sitting, I would play from the white tees, 279 and 308 yards on par 4s. That's a 3 wood and a driver for me, respectfully. So
what's the total par on the normal scorecard?
Total par on the normal scorecard is a par 72.
So it is still a par 72.
Par 72. They will keep it there.
And they do keep it there for this event. I did look at that, but it's interesting to note that the average tour player still is playing it at a 73. So this is a very difficult course. And I think we've kind of pounded that into the ground. I'm just really excited to be able to talk about golf in an off week and be able to play some bets. So if you missed it and you want to go back, I ran through my very obvious top picks, put them in there live, and then we made some dart throws at the end to round out that DFS lineup. Did you happen to find out if Yahoo was doing a DFS match?
I did not find anything, so I'm going to say probably not. But to speak on the course, the yardage doesn't seem too intimidating. And honestly, if you were to look at like an overhead view of the course, it doesn't look super intimidating until you actually click onto the official Leopard Creek website and go to the hole by hole breakdown. There's not a lot of bunkers per se. What's up, Czar? There's not a lot of bunkers per se. There's maybe only a couple holes that have 1 or 2. So there are like a good amount on other holes. They're just weirdly spaced throughout the entirety of each hole. And they're in really, really mean areas is what I like to call it. So looking at distance guides here, again, we're just going to play from the tips as we would. On 17, there is a bunker stretching 20 yards down the right side of the fairway. Oh, there's also one in the middle of the fairway, and there's one on the left-hand side within 240 to 265 yards. So add another 50 to 70 yards to the tips. That's directly in the area of most professional golfers. So you have to be it's not being strategic with your shots. It's literally just being accurate. So yes, there's obviously strategy that goes into picking your club, but there is so much accuracy that is required in this course. It's surrounded by trees and some tough grass, but it's nothing that you probably, if you live in a woodsy area, probably haven't seen before. You probably look at the course, say there's less trees or less hazards in terms of like on the outside of the holes, on the out of bounds areas than at my home course. But there are bunkers strategically placed throughout the entire course that are going to make it extremely difficult if anyone has a mishit. There's a lot of bunkers too here that are very deep. They are not just your average bunker that might be, 2-3 feet deep. They are pretty deep bunkers. So
yeah,
just something to keep in mind.
Yes. And that is typical on a link style course in Europe. Super deep bunkers, and of course that silly Kikuya grass that people like to mention. That's what makes this difficult, not to mention weather, wind, and all of those things that usually can come into play on the European Tour. I really feel like we have nailed this, and I want to take a minute here to discuss the match. But before I do, quick recap. If you want to play DFS this week, the only opportunity I have discovered is on DraftKings. So pop on in there, put in your lineup. I would say if you choose players you are comfortable with, you're on the right track, because those are the names that are continuing to pop up. And then fill in the gaps by looking at the data, who's making cuts, who's bringing in actual fantasy points per game, and you could come out okay, because it's a pretty big field, and we're hoping to get lucky. So there are some props out there as well. The Bezenhout Christian to win is probably the biggest bet out there. I would say Usyk in the top 10, and we talked about a few others if you want to rewind. So let's get to the match. The match is on Saturday, and it is, I believe, the first nighttime event that the PGA is hosting or has hosted. And what's interesting about this is it came about, Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods have been huge proponents of finding ways to compete with the newly formed LIV Tour, which hosts different formats like this all the time as just part of their tour. So the match is not a tour event. It is a made-for-TV event, 12 holes, played at night. We're in Florida, and I believe that kicks off 6 p.m. Eastern, which is 3 p.m. for people who are like me and will still be at work. We can tune in on TNT and watch from our computers while we work, hopefully. I like this event because it's a charitable event. It's usually has featured Phil Mickelson, but since he's moved on to the LIV Tour, we are now going to see Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy taking on Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas. There's going to be plenty of bets, I'm sure, popping up here in the next week if they haven't already. I'm in California, so it makes it kind of difficult for me to look at props, but I am going to dig deep and make sure I tweet out some really good props for you. But I think it's fun to discuss, gosh, a charitable event. It's just 12 holes, which to me is such an awkward number, but it is nighttime. They don't want it to take all night long. And Tiger Woods, he's got a bum leg. So he's already withdrew from the last event because of that leg. So I'm sure that also is playing a role in it. This will benefit Hurricane Ian. Did you discover anything interesting about the match?
I hate these kind of things. I think it's dumb. I get it's for charity. Like, that's cool, right? That's the only cool aspect about this whole thing. It is so stupid. I think it's dumb. You have a guy who can't swing a golf club right now competing against Rory, who shits himself in big moments, Jordan Spieth, who is the American version of the Scottish guy that's the aforementioned, and Justin Thomas, who might be the best golfer of these four currently. So I hate these stupid things. Was it the Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau, the showdown? Fuck you. That is the shut up. Oh my god. It is so stupid. It is so dumb. I hate it. Go out there and golf just have fun. Go out there, golf, have fun. I feel like I am being forced to watch a televised event of four friends just golfing and shit talking the whole time.
I mean, that is what it is.
Yeah, I don't need that. Again, great that it is to support the Hurricane Ian relief. That is fantastic. I think that's great. everything else about it can go shove it right up their ass. Because who is broadcasting this?
TNT.
TNT. Okay. TNT is going to make a shitload of money from this. That is why TNT is hosting this. That's it. Viewership won't be good. Viewership's going to be meh. And TNT is going to make so much money off of selling commercials because there's one guy's name that's attached to it, and it's Tiger Woods.
Oh,
That's why.
you are so cynical.
I'm not cynical.
I am going to slightly disagree. I think that
Brady Rogers, the match. Oh, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. Oh, they made so much money off of
Tiger
commercials.
Woods and Phil Mickelson. They're great.
Yeah, it's gonna suck. It's dumb.
I disagree. I really disagree. I think that it's fun. It's a nice change of pace. And if you really love to watch golf, like I love to watch golf almost as much as I love to watch football. And so to have a primetime event is really kind of exciting to me. So I'm just going to leave it at that. If you love to watch golf, it's entertaining. It's going to be 12 holes. It won't be like a million years of your life, like a normal tournament. The odds, if we want to talk odds, you can. I just dug in a little bit here online while we were chit-chatting. And Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas are favored to win. Minus 125. And then we've got Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy plus 105. Those are odds from Draftkings at the end of November. So those may have updated it, but I'm not surprised to see that Thomas and Spieth are favored to win, especially with Tiger not at peak performance.
It's 2 versus 1, of course.
It basically is 2 versus 1. But if Spieth happens to have a meltdown, then
there's no pressure. He won't have a meltdown. There's no pressure. What's the pressure?
That's true. They're just all friends. They all do play together. They all live in Florida together and play together all the time. But I still think it will be fun. There's going to be plenty of wagers. Like I said, hit up your sports book and get in some fun props while you're at it. That's really all, that we have today. Again, if you just tuned in for some DFS action, you can rewind. You can see the quick lineup that I put in based on all the names that keep floating to the top in my research this week. Joe gave us a good course analysis if you want to dig deeper and if you know a lot about European Tour players. And that's about it, really. It was kind of a degenerate week.
Yeah, I mean, we're betting on the European Tour, of course. It's a degenerate week.
Stop! I actually love the European Tour. I love a lot.
You don't have to lie. It's fine. You don't have to lie.
I'm not lying.
You don't have to lie. That's like people saying, "Oh, I love watching D2 football." No, you don't.
You are liars. So silly. No,
I'm not silly.
Guys, do not listen to Joe right now. If I could kick him in the shins, I would.
The European Tour. The European Tour. You want to know the last time Europe has beat us in something? Never.
That is so not true, sir.
Never.
You are crazy.
America. You want England couldn't even beat us in soccer. Those idiots who are now in the quarterfinals against France and where not. U.S. soccer sucks. The European Tour sucks. They essentially equate to each other.
No.
Don't hate the player. Hate the players on the tour. So, look, I'm sure it's funny because I can tell that the Alfred Dunhill, their website, they do a really good job of marketing. They've mentioned, like 3-4 big names that have won the tournament. And I was like, oh, this is a good tournament. And, it's guys that are on the PGA Tour now. And I was like, So the only name I know scrolling through the entire scorecard from 2020-2019 was Charles Schwartzel. So
that's because you don't watch very much golf.
yeah, but I know the Masters lineup every year, and Charles Schwartzel is the only name. Well, and Louis, obviously, but Louis wasn't on any of those lists because Louis too good for the European Tour.
No, he is on the list.
Yeah, but he's too good. Why is he playing? He's too good for that tour.
He's not too good for that tour. You are making it sound like
Yes,
it's a second-rate tour. Those
It is.
points. No. Oh my gosh.
It is.
Joe,
It is.
stop.
You're
embarrassing right now.
No, it's like women's FIFA and men's FIFA. Not even close.
Okay. Joe's opinion on golf has no bearing on mine or my picks. So please disregard the hate because it's a little out of hand right now.
No, it's not. It is accurate. It is accurate. Kelly and I could play on the European Tour. Now that's out of hand. That's out of hand right there. I'm just saying. I'm sure the course is going to be beautiful. I'm sure it's going to be great competition. If you stuck a single PGA player on that tour, they wipe the floor. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You're not right.
Louis for the win.
But I will let you
win.
have these feelings. Obviously, you needed to get it out.
Louis
so
for
I
the
hope
win.
this was really good therapy for you.
I need to find a way to complain about something.
It's okay.
Look, it is. You know what? It's going to be fun when there's like thunderstorms that are supposed to happen, and these guys are going to swing, and then like maybe a ball gets struck by lightning and like explodes midair.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. I love that we're on the 50-yard line here talking about golf.
I didn't change the background.
That's okay, because this was kind of a little bit of a circus here at the end, so we'll let it ride. It just goes with the theme.
I mean, I can make it more of a circus. Let's change it for the last 30 seconds, shall we? If I know and can find where it is, because we have 17,000 things. Hey, okay.
Yay. Thank you so much, Women of Fantasy Football, for allowing me to showcase that we have other talents and other likes, and Club Fantasy for producing this show, and Joe for being my host.
Oh, I'm just here. I'm here doing the Lord's work, hating on the European Tour. That's what I'm here for. No. For Who's Your Caddy, Kelly, myself, there is hopefully a good tournament next week that we can discuss, maybe win some money on. But again, this is the holiday season lull for golf, which is why we're golfing in South Africa and not in America, folks. Kelly, this was so much fun. I enjoyed it. Have a lovely night, everybody.